All right, Clementine, pick our ritual for the New Year celebration.
Clementine is picking a beautiful witch card.
How perfect. So Clementine picked change and progress.
Ooh, we see a young and sprightly witch.
Ooh, I
Uh,
like that word, sprightly.
sprightly. She looks sprightly to me.
First, I'd like to introduce the deck. It's Wisdom for the Everyday Witch Oracle by Deborah Blake.
It's a beautiful deck.
And what I love and why I selected this deck in particular for tonight's reading was because I really love how this deck, so unlike a traditional like tarot pool or even oracle pool, how she breaks it down, she gives you options with how to work with this card. And I think that's really great for when we're looking at working with the magic of the new year. And so you have the option to choose an action, like what action items you can take to work with this card, how you could work with the divination aspect of it, and if that's within your practice. So it really gives you a nice summary of ways to work with this message. So she says, change and progress. And mind you, keep in mind, this card is supposed to be about the new year, how we should move forth with our New Year celebrations and step into the year of 2026. So I think it's kind of perfect. Clementine, as always, selected the perfect card. So water is all about movement and change. It wears away huge rocks over time to create canyons and carve out the countryside where it runs. Even the calmest lake is always moving, and the ocean waves are in constant flux, ebbing and flowing with the tides. We can tap into the power of water to help us with our own movement, using its energy to help us make positive changes in our life and move forward towards whatever is next on our path.
I love that. I feel my most magical when I am near water.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like when I'm far from water, like, I don't feel as connected to the earth.
Interesting. I think to some extent, I feel the same because I've lived landlocked before, like landlocked with a river. Actually, landlocked without a river too. Anyway,
Yeah, because I feel like a river counts.
but I've also lived landlocked without a river. And with the ocean, maybe depending on how fast you drive, like an hour and a half to 3 hours away. And I did feel very unsettled.
Yeah, and I think it really depends on the river because, like, I grew up in St. Louis, which is
Mhm.
on the banks of the mighty Mississippi, and literally this river, it's so wide and it's so powerful and it spans, like, the entire country,
Yeah.
and I always
So you're
thought of
really
it,
connected
yeah,
with
as, like, the way it, like, pulls the energy and the sediment, and then, like, it empties out into the Gulf of Mexico, so, like, my hometown all the way to my current living space, like, the energy
had
is
touched that river.
isn't it beautiful?
Yeah. No, the river I lived near was in Richmond, so it was the good old James.
Oh, is that a
Just
historic
around the river bend.
Oh, is it that
Yes, it's that one.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, this is the James full circle moment.
Wow. Synchronicities?
Yeah, fun fact, when we did get together today, we started by singing some Wicked, and, Steven Schwartz, who wrote Wicked, also wrote the music for Pocahontas.
No kidding. The more you know. The more you know. Although I will say, I was so upset as a child when I learned the truth about Pocahontas. Like, I was crushed.
I learned it very quickly, so I loved Pocahontas, and I made it my whole personality. So, we had to do, like, one of those, living museums in school, and of course, unproblematically or maybe problematically, I don't know, I wanted to be Pocahontas, and, I quickly was like, "Mom, this is
Tell me
not
this is a
it."
lie.
Like, "This is not it." How old was she? She
14. 14 or
14.
15. Something so young.
She was not in love with John Smith.
Nope.
No, 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 she did not get along
And she died pretty
with
quickly after she
the
got to England, too.
yeah, the imperialist who basically kidnapped her.
Mhm.
So
As you think, as almost like a sidecar show.
yeah. Yeah, so Stephen Schwartz, what were you doing to us? So, tell us a little bit more about how we can work with the energy
All
of
right.
this card.
So, action. It's really beautiful here because she makes a really good fact. Change can be frightening, but there is no progress without change. Think about the Nile River in Egypt. Every year it flooded, which seems destructive, but those very floods were what nourished the soil, making the land of the Nile Valley among the most fertile in the world and allowing them to build an amazing civilization. Use the flood times in your own life, the times of trouble that seem out of your control, to push you in the direction of positive change. But also remember that water can be directed, and make sure that your energy is taking you where you want to go.
Facts. That's like, honestly, I couldn't think of a more perfect card to pull for the end of 2025.
Because it has been such, I mean, I've talked to you about some of my conspiracy theories. Um,
I love your most recent one.
oh my god.
I love your most I mean, I think it's facts. Like, your most recent conspiracy theory,
Yeah.
it just makes sense to me. Like, I don't even think it's conspiracy, I just think it's happening.
Oh man. I hope it's not, but like I feel like sometimes I'm just like, especially when you look up, like I was even thinking about it on the way here because the Jeep people, nothing against Jeeps or the people themselves, but like how all of a sudden this year, I mean, they did it a little bit last year, but like I feel like every time I see a Jeep now, especially like the Wrangler looking ones, they're decked out in Christmas lights, like all of them. I'm like, what is this single like consciousness doing? Like, who started it?
It's like a hive mind.
There
A
you go.
Jeep
That's the word.
a Jeep hive mind
The
is like
jive mind.
so the Jeep hive mind, I that brings me to Stranger Things, which I know you haven't been watching.
I know.
But yeah, in Stranger Things, all of the creatures are connected through a hive mind. I think it's really an interesting parallel because it's a dimensional play. Like there's the
Mm.
right side up and the upside down. And like I almost feel like we've talked about this. Like we've been in
Ooh,
the upside down
yeah.
for
Like legit upside down.
like a decent bit of time. Like I'm not gonna call the year.
Like we've dipped our toes in it without
Yeah.
maybe realizing it. So, how to use some divination with this card? Not unlike the Tower card in tarot, this card may be an indication that your life is in a time of change and flux. Changing of the new year. I mean, am I right? Am I right? Um, Not necessarily in ways that are all that unpleasant when you are living through them, but remember that when things fall apart, it gives you the opportunity to rebuild them in ways that are more productive and positive. Or maybe you are finally achieving those things you have worked toward for a long time and making serious progress towards your goals. In which case, hurrah, and keep going.
I mean, I'm gonna be real. Like as a recently divorced person, that really hits for me
Mm.
because last year, like my divorce was finalized in November, so the holidays, it was
We're
like
rough.
it was too fresh, honestly.
Mm.
Like I was in shock, my brain, my body, like I couldn't even process what was going on. There were still like ends to tie up. It was just it was too soon to be able to process all of that. And this year I have felt like the sads, but like not in a bad way. Um, and I feel like I've truly been able to process everything. And it's really put me into a place where I am feeling refreshed and I am feeling renewed and I am feeling hopeful and I'm seeing success in my personal life, in my professional life, in my,
Mm.
relations with my friends and my family. And sometimes you just have to full send on yourself and trust that the universe has got your back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I definitely connect with that a little bit as well because I feel like last year was a reverse tower year for me. Because it was my last year of grad school. I moved. I graduated. A lot of movement and like, even with I had to make a lot of hard choices and, make decisions that I didn't really want to make. And even my childhood home even flooded in the
Yeah,
floods
that was
last year,
intense.
and I had to literally throw away all of my childhood memorabilia, which was really, really, really rough.
I remember.
So, like, a lot, and all my journals.
I was so sad for you. I was so
All my journals, my planners, like, I haven't journaled really much since. We'll work on it, we'll work on it.
well, I think interestingly enough too, that's when we started this like spiritual practice that led us to this podcast.
I feel like just like construction of a house takes a lot of time, I feel like I've definitely been in this period of, all right, the tower has crashed and I've just been rebuilding, rebuilding, rebuilding. And so I feel like I'm going to take that energy of like, all right, the house is almost done being rebuilt. We can start to do those things like planning what color to paint the walls, where to put the couch, and all that other fun stuff, what flooring to use.
Ooh, we can pick out a rug and
I love a rug.
some art.
Yeah, exactly.
I love
So I
it.
feel like that's what 2026 is gonna like, at least the first quarter is gonna be a lot of like, "Alright, let's pick out the shit."
I dig it. I'm here to support. You know, I
Thank
am
you,
in
thank
my
you,
decor
thank
era,
you.
and I love to decorate.
Oh, and last but not least, if magic is within your practice, a way to magically work with the energy of this card of change and progress for this new year celebration is, as she says, there's a simple way to do magic work for change and progress. And all you need are two glasses and some water. You can put them on your altar or anywhere they won't be disturbed. Start with all the water in the glass on the left and the one on the right, make sure it's empty. Each day for a week or longer. You can even do this a little bit at a time, following the changes of the moon, starting with the dark moon and ending with the night of the full moon. Up to you. Pour a little bit of water from the glass on the left into the one on the right. Say, I am moving in the direction of positive change and progress. Really feel the energy of change being boosted by the power of the element of water. When all the water is in the glass on the right, take that energy and do something to create positive change in your life.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's how you can magically work with this card.
Speaking of magic and rituals, I want to check in and see how your 12 magical nights ritual is going for you.
Honestly, it's been going really good. And so I have a cast iron, like a little mini, like cast iron desk cauldron, so to speak.
It's freaking
It
adorable.
is. I love it so much. I've had it for, oh my gosh, I think, man, maybe 7 years. Anyway, so what I've been doing is, so part of the ritual is you have these 12 wishes and you write them all down and you fold them up and you burn one each night. I have my 12 wishes in an empty candle jar holder thing, and I shuffle them each night or morning, depending on when I am able to do it. And so I shuffle them, close my eyes, shuffle, 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 and kind of like how Clementine does with the tarot, I intuitively feel the energy, and that's how I select it. And I put all the ones that are together, I put them back in my little jar, and then I flip over and read whatever intention was on the one that I selected. I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'm giving this to the universe to handle," and then I fold it and I put it in my cauldron, put the lid on it, and so after all the 12 nights are done, my plan is to take some herbs and flowers and put that in the, cauldron as well and light it all on fire and set it ablaze.
Magic. I think that's beautiful because I've been doing it a completely different way. So, I think it's a great like showing of how like magic is personal. It
Yes.
can be in any way that you connect with. So I wrote out my intentions. I tried to fold them into very similar shapes so that I didn't know which was which. And I have them on my altar on my table. And I've been going each night and just kind of swiping my hand through the altar and selecting one and then putting it in a little ashtray and then taking a little flame and lighting it on fire. And as I light it on fire, I just say a mantra to myself, I release this.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And I think it is really important to highlight how individual magic is, because, like, yes, it can be good to look on, like, Pinterest or whatever, or in, like, some of these books that you see in the store, for spell and ritual ideas, but at the end of the day, like, just because you don't have, all the exact materials, how you interpret it, that's where the magic is.
Magic's inside of you, right?
Mhm.
I truly believe that, and I truly believe that every human is magic. We all have this beautiful energy. I just want to describe to you what's happening right now is that Clementine is sitting on the other side of me looking longingly at our dear friend Kara and giving her nice little pats, just asking for love and affection, which is Clementine's magic. So, thank you, Clementine. Thank you.
Darling little Pisces that she is.
She's such a lover. She's such a lover, not a fighter, but she really wants all the attention in the world. Um, but very truly, I think I think that we all have a energy magic in us, and I very much so believe in karmic cycles. And I think that the energy that you put out in the world is the energy that you're going to receive back. So that is also the magic that you cultivate within you. So if you're cultivating that good light energy, that's the magic that you're going to be able to tap into and receive. And then there are also times in our lives where we are challenged because of other things that are happening around us and it's harder to tap into that magic, and that's where I think it's important to tap into the collective.
Mm. And how do you tap into the collective?
I mean, honestly, it's finding like-minded folks like you, and,
Shucks.
I mean, yeah, though, I think that's been something I've really appreciated about our friendship is we kind of started just hanging out because I was like, "Hey, I'm going through something. Seems like you might be going through something. I'm
Right.
witchy, you're witchy."
With our, like, casual run-in
Yeah,
at the coffee shop,
literally. I was like, "Hey, I know you.
right? Like, "Mind if we sit?"
Mind if we sit? Mind if we talk?" And then it's like, "Oh, actually, we have a lot in common,
Mhm.
and our spirituality is very similar." And there was another friend I used to do this kind of stuff with, and unfortunately, him and I, we drifted apart, right? So, when I found out that you were very interested in doing this kind of stuff, I was already like, I had the journal, I was already doing it on my own,
Mhm.
but tapping into the collective was reaching out and saying, "Hey, a full moon's coming up. Do you wanna come over and
Right.
do a
Which was
ritual?"
really fun.
You know?
Still is.
Still is.
Still
Still is, but it's also just reaching out to your friends and family and your network and just kind of making sure that you're tapping in and checking in on each other.
right. Well,
Uh,
because we are social creatures, and,
yep.
I can't say that enough, like, yes, he can be more introverted and just wanna be alone, but, like, at the end of the day, like, we do need some form of social contact.
Absolutely. And the final way I would say that I work with collective is just getting involved in the community,
Mm.
especially like-minded folks, especially people that, you know, it's the holiday season. Some people, have homes, some people don't have homes, some people have
Right.
families, some people don't have families, especially LGBTQIA people.
Mhm.
I have a really strong relationship with my family now, but that wasn't always
Always the
that way.
case.
And so that's why I think a lot of us have chosen friends and family that we gather with around this time.
Right. I can't emphasize enough, like, the importance of chosen family. Like, it truly is a lifesaver for some people, and, like, no, just because we don't share blood does not mean we can share that word family.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's why LGBTQ people call each other family,
Mm.
right?
And then can we just, like, take a moment to express, like, just awe and gratitude for all the people who had that strength to open up to their family in that way, not knowing
Way to
how it would
go.
be received, like, way to
Way to go.
fucking go.
Even members of my family that I'm so proud of who are finally coming out and coming into their own. It has been such a beautiful thing to watch, and I love you. I'm here for you. And it's something that like my coming out story was a up and down one because my family's religious beliefs did not support that, right? And it was actually Christmas time
Oh,
when
wow.
um okay, do you want to hear the story? So
Sure.
I was 19 years old. My first girlfriend was from New Jersey, and she was home.
Jersey girl.
She was I love a girl from the Northeast. I can't help it. I love the accent.
The sass.
It's the way it's the sass.
Sass on the ass. What can I say?
Everything in me wants to be with like some sweet, kind girl, and I always end up with these like sassy, like New York queens. Like,
Man.
literally from Queens. But, yeah, so it was my first girlfriend, and, her and I had we'd been kind of quiet about our relationship. We'd hooked up for we'd been friends online. Actually, this is a cute story. So, when we talk about being friends online, like, this girl and I met in, like, 2001
Damn.
in, like, an AOL, like,
Chat room?
chat room,
Wow.
right? And then we met in real life at a Catholic youth conference.
Love that.
So her family was Catholic, my family was Catholic.
Perfect.
We were talking online and we realized that we actually met in real life before we met online. So we had met the previous year at the same youth conference, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm going back this year." So,
No
we
kidding.
met again at that youth conference, and then the following year, we I was turning 18, and I was going to New York with my family, and she was living in Jersey, so she actually came up to New York and spent a day with me, so I'd spent lots of time with her, and then she decided she was going to a Bible college in Florida for college, and so I was going to Rock the Universe, which is a Christian rock concert.
Heard of it. I've heard
Yeah,
of it for
it's
sure.
it's a Christian rock concert that happens at Universal Studios every year, and
That's why.
I was
Okay.
passing through where her school was, and I said, "Hey, I'm passing through where your school is. Do you want me to stop and say hi?" And she was like, "Yeah." Ended up staying the night there. Then she came to visit me. I went to visit her. She came to visit me. Rest is history.
Right.
When we ended up actually kissing for the first time, I was shocked because I grew up Catholic and had no exposure
And
to,
you're like, wow, the world did not burn underneath my feet.
like, I had no idea that I could be a queer person. So, um, it was beautiful moment, but it was shocking to me, and I wasn't ready to tell other people
Mm.
about it. So we were dating secretly. That was, like, Thanksgiving week that happened, and then this was a few weeks later. It was Christmas time. I was with my family shopping at Citrus Park Mall here in the
Oh,
Bay
yeah.
Area.
I know good old Citrus Park. Yep, yep, yep,
I
yep.
still can't go to Citrus Park Mall to this very day.
Damn.
I was there and I was having a little bit of a rough time. I went to the bathroom. I called my girlfriend. I was on the phone. I was crying. I was telling her what was going on. And then I said, I love you before I hung up the phone. And when I walked out of the bathroom stall, my mom was staying there. Yeah.
Damn.
And she was so mad at me. And she started yelling at me in front of my sisters and my, at the time, stepdad, and, she basically was like, "You're lying to me, tell me the truth, I think you're dating this girl," and so I was like, "Fine, you're right, I am dating her, I'm gay." And, she was not here for it, she, like, outed me to the rest of my family
Mm.
and friends, and,
So you lost control over your whole like narrative, essentially.
Exactly, right? I didn't get the opportunity to come out to most of the people in my life. I'd come out to my favorite cousin who I'm really close to. I'd come out to a couple friends, and other than that, my mom outed me to everyone. So, it was really a hard time. We spent many years very rarely talking to each other. I ended up being the girlfriend, didn't last, that
Right.
happens in early
It does. It
relationships.
does.
But it was Christmas time, and I'll never forget it.
Right.
So,
But I mean, hey, look at you now though, and look at the growth that you've had.
well, and during those years when I was estranged from my family and I'd moved to St. Augustine, I found a really strong chosen family. And I remember there was one, holiday season that me and my roommate at the time literally had, like, Starbucks sandwiches and a pumpkin loaf, and that was, like, our holiday dinner, and it's one of my favorite memories because it was just like,
So
I'm
pure.
yeah,
Accepted.
I'm on my own, I'm doing my own thing, I'm making my own decisions, and I have people who love and care for me,
Mhm.
you know?
Bless, 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 bless.
Yeah, love it. How about you? How'd you come out?
I think it's kind of funny though, because like my grandma, she's a little woo woo magic girl lady, for better and for worse. And she's just always funny. It's just one of those jokes of like, oh, you never have a boyfriend over. I'm like, well, because you guys are crazy. Uh,
Facts.
but she goes, well, I don't care if you have a boyfriend or you can bring a girlfriend, and I was just like, I mean, maybe one day. So like with my mom, haven't really come out with her yet. But there's like multiple reasons for that aspect of it. But then my friends always know. People if like, yeah, this is who I am. Whatever. Fine.
It was just like it just was.
Just was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just literally was. Nothing exciting or groundbreaking.
That's good. I think that's how coming out should be.
Yeah.
It should just be like it is, like a Tuesday, you know?
Right.
So,
Someone asked me like, oh, you buy it? I'm like, yeah.
and I think that actually that's a good point, right? There's a huge, not difference, but what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you as a bisexual, maybe straight passing person
Mm-hmm.
versus me as a lesbian, masculine presenting person. Like, we
Right.
navigate the world in different ways.
Absolutely. I mean, I even remember in high school, like, before I even, like, super identified or realized, like, I had a group of friends, and there was one lesbian in particular who goes, "Girl, you are chapstick gay." And I'm like, "You just want me to be that
For
way."
the streets out there, what's a chapstick gay?
Chapstick is kind of like I like to identify as more of like a kind of a punk-ish tomboy kind of thing. Like, you can dress up and be I would say like a semi-girly, but like wears flannel. So like
Yeah,
we'll wear a black
absolutely.
dress, but with a flannel tied over it or something
Yeah,
like that.
instead of lipstick, they put on the chapstick.
Yeah,
So a
yeah.
chapstick
Maybe a
lesbian
tinted
yeah,
chapstick.
a chapstick lesbian might be in, like, a cute flannel. She
Mhm.
might
Has
still
the
have
long hair.
yeah, she might still have long hair, and, like, kinda present a little bit femme, but, like, you're never gonna see her in lipstick. She's always got chapstick in her pocket.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
nutshell.
So you were like, "Nah, not me."
Nah, I still like the boys as well, so I'm like, "No." But, I think that's as shitty as high school can be, it's a really public high school at least, uh, it's a really great place to open your eyes to that kind of thing and have that support of, like, the budding queer community and, like, the new
Yeah.
generation.
And I mean, there is a toxic thing in lesbian culture, which I do not subscribe to, where it's some biphobia, it's some bisexual hate, where it's like either you're confused or you're just experimenting. And I'm
Mhm.
like, bi people are just bi people.
Right.
Like they just like,
They just like what they like.
that was a good sidebar. I think it's
Well, I think it's
important.
important to highlight just, like, how we practice our magic differently, like, how our experiences of coming out can be different too.
Yeah, and sexuality in general and
Mhm.
how it changes over time, right?
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
I'm not what they would call a gold star lesbian. So it's very surprising to a lot of people that I slept with a guy when I was 25, and it was because I was like, hey, 25,
Let's figure it out.
never tried this.
Let's do it.
Let's literally fuck around and find out.
And then you're like, "Never mind."
And I did. I did. I fucked around. I did find out he was beautiful, wonderful, kind. It was consensual.
Mhm.
It happened like very, very quickly.
For
Um,
better or worse.
but I never wondered, you know what I mean? And, like, I think sexuality is a spectrum. I find
Absolutely.
men attractive. I look at them and I'm like, "You're a beautiful man." I think that men loving men is hot as hell, Like, I'm one of those stands that I'm like, "Gay boys, yes."
Absolutely.
But when it comes to, like, sexually, I'm just not attracted.
It's like, "No,
I'm just not
thanks."
attracted to dudes.
Right. And honestly, like, I love it. I mean, maybe this is just, like, my bias, uh,
But
but I love it when, like, there's a man who is comfortable hugging, holding, and even kissing his other male friends consensually, but maybe
literally.
who doesn't identify as gay or doesn't identify as bisexual even, but, he's like, "Yeah, I mean, that's my bro,
That's
that's
my
my
brain.
dude,
Yeah,
and this is just, like, we do that because I mean, how many times do you see a girl like, girls who may identify as straight in a club who make out and be like, "Oh my god, this is so hot," and, like,
yeah,
sexualize it, but also normalize it to an extent. But that's not really given to men, and I feel like
bros can bro out too.
bros can bro out, and, like, that's true comfort in your own masculinity and your own identity too.
Agreed, and, I mean, I think that that's a toxic part of myself I had to fight through when I was younger, right?
Mhm.
Because, um, I came out right around the time of Katy Perry's "I Kissed a Girl and I Like It,"
Ah,
and
yeah.
every girl in the club was trying to kiss me,
Mhm.
and, like, I eventually had to be like, "Guys, like, if you're not actually interested in kissing me,
Then don't.
like, please don't." But it was it was confusing for me because of the biphobia in the lesbian community because I don't know why, but I'm just drawn to bisexual women. I don't know if it is me or if it's them or if it's an us thing, but I would say of the women that I've dated, 90% have been bisexual. So, it was a confusing time because yeah, they were also just sussing out their
Own
sexuality,
identity, yeah.
but I was like there was a girl that I just literally had to tell her like I can't be your college lesbian experience.
Damn.
Like cuz I could tell that she was using me, does that make sense?
Right.
Like, she wanted to experience it, but she also didn't wanna tell anyone, she didn't want you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. So, that was part of me, I had to come through it and be like, "Okay,
Mhm.
bisexuality is cool, but also using people is not cool, so you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I think that's the important thing too is that there is a stigma and like, um, I don't know. There's people who like to just make out with people, period, which gets confused for bisexual sometimes.
And if it's consensual, right? Like, if that
Sure.
is the deal, and
That's
you're like,
okay.
"Hey, we're just making out, and I just like making out, and I can make out with you, and I can make out with him, and I can make out with her, and I can make out with them," like,
Right.
go
And then
for it.
we all use Listerine later. It's fine.
But if you're if you're coming over to my house and, like,
Right. That's a different story.
you're acting girlfriendy, and then, like, we're going out in public, and you're like, "I don't know her," like, that's
Right.
a whole different vibe,
Right.
you know what I
Exactly.
mean?
It's intent.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Shall we discuss the New Year? So, New Year's, what do people do? They kiss.
My New Year's kiss will be
Clementine.
Clementine.
But so we'll start with, speaking of time, all the different times and dates that New Year's used to be. For instance, New Year's celebrations date back all the way over 4,000 years ago in ancient Babylon. And the Babylonians used to celebrate the new year, that first new moon after the vernal equinox, so after that spring equinox.
True.
So, like in that March period. Ancient Egyptians, they celebrated during the autumn equinox, which can also make sense because closing of the year, all that other fun stuff, right? The ancient Greeks, they celebrated their New Year's closer to when we celebrate now. The Roman Republic celebrated March 1st, all the way up until 153 BC, which is when it changed over to our current system, which had it around January 1st.
Well, that's interesting. So that was the first instance of New Year's being celebrated at the time that it is celebrated
Right.
currently.
So they moved it to January because they celebrated the god Janus, which was the god of new beginnings. He was also the two-faced god. So part of the idea is one face looks forward to the future while the other face looks back towards the past.
That's really
And
interesting.
the god Janus is also the guardian of gates and doorways.
Oh, I love it. I
Yeah.
never knew that before.
Me neither. But what I also found really interesting in my research, Russia had their New Year's on a different date. They didn't start celebrating New Year's on January 1st until 1918,
That's really interesting. I
which was
wonder
around the World War, the
I was
First
gonna
War.
say, I wonder if that had to do with that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. England, 1752 was their adoption of the January 1st. Germany and Denmark, 1700. Scotland, 1660. And like with Scotland and England, it really blows my mind because they literally kiss each other.
Well, honestly, true. Very, very true. And the 1700s is not that long ago. When you
No,
really
like
think about, like, the
300 and some
history of the
change.
world, yeah.
Like, fairly recently,
Yeah,
we all
that's, like,
got on the same calendar.
almost as recently as America was born, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, 1776 was the birth of America, that was
true.
yeah, that was when the American Revolution happened.
Right, and to me, what's even more interesting, like, when you look at that with that knowledge in the back of your head, like, okay, so these New Years, they all started on different days, and then when you go and look back at history, you're like, "How do these years align? Like, when was this technically the New Year? Blah, 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 blah." I don't know, my brain just kinda went down like a little spiral, like, "Oh my goodness," like, how we've recorded history, and we look back at recorded history, how different it could be interpreted, knowing that the New Year started differently. So and that kind of leads me into, like, historically, this money maker that is New Year's Eve. So, at least in America, New Year's Eve is the 6th favorite holiday. I could take it or leave it, like, I enjoy it, it's whatever. I don't know. I don't know about you, but sometimes I get a fallout.
I mean, what I like about New Year's Eve is what you're talking about with the ritual of it.
Mhm.
I'm not one to go out for New Year's Eve. I'm one to have,
Oh, it's like an amateur night
yeah,
sometimes. I'm like,
yeah,
I like to be home. I like to
yeah,
be with, like, people that I care
couple
about,
folks watching a movie,
you know,
you know.
or, maybe having some kind of food, maybe some
Yeah,
beverages or whatever, but, like, I don't necessarily need to go out and spend a bunch of money on, like, the club. Do I
yeah.
get some FOMO sometimes? Sure, but it's not like, ugh.
Being excited. I mean, I don't know. The last time I did something like that, like the night just ended terribly, and I just
Mhm.
like to your point about like carrying the energy into the new year. Like I would just much rather be chilling with my homies,
Right. Right, and wake up refreshed,
literally.
and able to attack the world. But, there are people who do spend a lot of money, in particular in New York City for that mega ball drop. A ticket for that ball drop, which does include unlimited drinks, I think a certain amount of food, you get entrance to different parties within that area, is between $169 and $249 per person.
It's a lot.
And mind you, around 1,000,000 people buy into this, so that equates to roughly $2 billion just generated for that one night.
Yeah, and we're not even talking about the travel and the outfits and
The hotels, the other
all of the other
food.
things that goes around. Now, is that good for the economy? Sure.
Sure, for
Great
that
for
brief day.
great for the economy.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, like, if something does go wrong, like there's a weather impact or something like that, and you're contingent on that, that can cause a different kind of economic impact.
Well, it's not just an economic impact either, it's also, like, the trash impact. In 2022, 48 tons of garbage were produced just that one day alone for that ball drop event, and it took 178 sanitation workers to do the cleanup afterwards, and there were over 3,000 pounds of confetti, which pollutes our environment. I'll go on a little mini soapbox of how some of these celebrations can really negatively impact our earth, and so when we think about going into the new year, like, trying to be like, "Oh, yeah, this is how we're gonna new year, new me," you know, how new can you get when the earth is, like, getting injured?
She needs to breathe.
She needs to breathe. Not to mention, like, all the toxins that are released from the fireworks into the
That's
air,
serious. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then the litter from the fireworks afterwards too. Like, it doesn't just hurt the animals, it hurts the plants, it hurts us. So on a bright side, there's some companies in Italy who are trying to develop, like, silent fireworks. There's that transition to go into more laser shows, the drone shows, which are a lot better on the environment and on people. Because, like, if you think about it, the human impact, PTSD is a thing.
Yeah.
You know,
No, it truly is.
there's people who either served in combat or who have experience with just, like, bad things happening after a loud noise, who really have a difficult time.
I mean, especially in the gun culture that we have here in the United States.
Mhm. And so, like, there is hope, people, governments, private companies who are trying to make it more friendly.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Going back to the collective, maybe we could encourage some kind of community activity, some kind of
Like cleanup,
cleanup or something.
jinx. Now, it's not New Year's without some symbology, right? Did your family ever, like, have a specific meal? Like, you can't talk about New Year's without talking about food, right? Did your family ever have a specific meal or anything that they would make around New Year's?
My grandpa loved the holidays so much that he would, when he was younger, if he couldn't find the perfect Christmas tree, he would buy 3 and tie them together
What?
to create the perfect Christmas
That
tree.
is madness.
I'm gonna send you a picture of what my mom's Christmas tree looks like. It's insane.
Was that in Missouri or was this in Florida?
No, this is in Florida. He threw the biggest New Year celebration every year, and he made the same foods every year. It was these little rye bread pizzas and
Rye bed specifically.
specifically little rye bread pizzas. He made a bacon wrapped filet. He made dips and chips, and my grandma baked cookies. And there was just always so much food. He loved coming into the new year and celebrating with his family. Yeah, I really miss that.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing it. My family, we usually always did split pea soup, lentils and rice, or sometimes red beans and rice. Always had greens.
Had to have some legumes.
Gotta have the legumes. And, it's important that, like, food is part of tradition, right? It's part of culture. So it's important to talk about it now because, like, a lot of these things have, like, symbols to them. So, like, cabbage, we're both got some German ancestry.
Love German food.
Oh my gosh. So the cabbage, specifically the sauerkraut, in Germany represented longevity, so having a long life, and so you'd eat it in the new year and to bring in some money. Black-eyed peas, which is more of a southern thing, represents, like, survival, humility, and by that I mean, like, during this time actually goes back to ancient Egypt, whoops. They would celebrate with peas at the New Year, like a form of humility to the gods of, like, "Alright, so I'm gonna take and eat this pea," which is available to everybody from the richest man, the pharaoh, to the poorest slave, like, we can all access this food item to gain, like, good graces with the gods. So, like, see, I can even eat a pea in order to gain grace. So it even dates back in America to the Civil War. So there's a story that Union soldiers, they raided a camp and left nothing but the black-eyed peas, and so that they could at least have food and they could survive about it. Enslaved people during the emancipation, were said to celebrate with black-eyed peas 'cause it's what they had on hand, survival. So I think that's beautiful and supposed to represent prosperity and all that other fun stuff. Some other foods, are greens, of course, they look like money, act like money, but also dried greens is said to ward off bad spirits.
I love, like, a dried kale.
Ooh, like, nice and crispy,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Remember the kale chips from Starbucks?
Yes. I also really like to make my own kale chips.
I have not done that yet, but it's been on my to-do list.
It's very easy to do. Very easy. Highly recommend.
Oh, rice. Rice in itself in India is seen as a bad omen remover. The pomegranate, it's a sign of rebirth, of fertility, of just good luck in general. And champagne, good old Romans, since the Roman Empire was like a status symbol, a symbol of prosperity.
That's very interesting. I didn't know that,
The Romans liked to party.
yeah, I mean, I knew they liked to party, I just didn't know that carbonation dated back that far.
Fermentation process.
That's awesome.
You take yeast, you ferment it, it's bubbles, or sugar. Have have the yeast eat the sugar, you get some nice bubbles. Boom, 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 boom. Throw it in some grape juice. Boom, 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 boom. Put it in a casket. Boom, 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 boom. Would you like to hear some other symbols of luck for the new year?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, mushrooms, specifically the Amanita muscaria. Do you know what that one is?
No, but I should because, I love shrimp.
It's the magic mushroom, of course. It's really connected to the winter solstice. It's connected to Yule. It's connected to the new year. They're normally found under conifer trees. It's a ceremonial fungi, particularly in Siberia. And so the shamans used to dry them and give them to community members as gifts around this time of year. And last but not least, the horseshoe is a symbol of both luck and protection because the materials of the original horseshoes were iron, which is a common, at least European, symbol to keep away bad spirits.
I did not ever know that about the horseshoe.
Okay. So, are you ready for some other activities and traditions that you can do for New Year's?
Yeah, I'd love to hear about it.
One tradition comes from Scotland, and it's a Scottish Viking tradition, and I think it's so funny. You know how, like, in America, blonde hair, blue eyes, that's the ideal,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Right, even to this day. Well, back in the olden days in Scotland, it was bad luck and almost a bad omen to have your first guest at, like, midnight or 1 minute past midnight to be a blonde man.
That is so unfortunate.
It's like, a blonde man, oh, no!
That's so unfortunate for Scandinavian
It's
folk.
like, my ear is doomed. So there's this tradition called the first foot tradition. It's like the first guest on New Year's Day, so, like, at 30 seconds past midnight, that first person who comes through your threshold is supposed to be a fortune teller of the year to come. You didn't want a blonde man because that's just, like, bad juju all around for the rest of the year. What they wanted to come through the door is basically someone who's tall, dark, and handsome.
I mean, facts.
Facts, like, so dark hair was what was wanted, preferably carrying gifts such as coal, whiskey, and shortbread and salt, which would represent warmth, prosperity, cheer, and good luck for
I
the
love
new year.
that.
So, diving into the world of resolutions, did you know around 41% of adults make New Year's goals, but 1 out of 10 or 9.2% feel like they succeed? So very low.
I think that we talked a little bit about this
Mhm.
last year. That's why I like intention setting over resolution.
Yes.
Because resolution is so final, like resolute, like I'm
Like, this is
done.
the whole change thing, and I think it's interesting because I was reading, like, things that people so resolutions have been around since ancient Babylon. The Babylonians, they would do resolutions such as, "I'm gonna return my farmer's equipment that I borrowed from this farmer." So things like, "Oh, shoot, I still have this equipment, let me return it." One of the most common, like, throughout the ages has been for health and wealth.
I mean, who doesn't want health and wealth?
Exactly, who doesn't? Um, of course, the Romans would celebrate with Janus. Christians, historically, and their resolutions would be around the resolving of their sins. In the medieval times, knights around this time of year would take the peacock vow,
I love that.
right? Where they would place their hand upon a peacock and renew their vows of chivalry.
That's so beautiful.
Mm,
Bring it back.
bring it back
Also, how beautiful is it that it's something so flamboyant, like a
for at
peacock?
night. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and it's funny because, like, around this time of year, I see a lot of imagery with peacocks, and I wonder if this is where it comes from.
it probably does.
And it's interesting how the change from, character development as a New Year's resolution to nowadays, it's more of like denying ourselves of something. Last but not least, something that I found, they gave it a nice little ritual that you could do instead of resolutions. So instead of making a resolution for the new year, making a list of regrets and then burning them and sending them away.
Just letting them go.
Yeah, it's like, all right, I didn't get to any of this and I kind of regret that. But you know what? What's in the past is in the past, and is the dust is in the dust. Send that energy back to the universe to get renewed. Right?
Thank you for that New Year's deep dive. I mean, I love when you rabbit hole because I learned so much and I've learned so much in our friendship and in this podcast that we've done so far. So
So, you want to go date someone, have them go touch a peacock first. So, you know that they're going to be a chivalrous at least.
that's so funny. I'm still not on the dating vibe yet. So
I'm not either. Maybe in the new year, though.
maybe.
I'll be open to it. That'll be the intention. I'm open to it.
I don't know. I'm scared of dating. Girls scare me. They're so pretty.
Don't worry, they're not a Jennifer from Jennifer's Body.
Oh, I was gonna say, I like Jennifer's. So do you wanna know about the astrology that's happening between now and the new year?
Of course.
Okay, so we've got a lot going on. So Mercury is in Capricorn starting on Christmas Day, December the 25th. This is gonna help us to be strategic and outcome focused thinkers.
Which
So
is perfect.
which is perfect for setting those intentions and coming into the new year. It's a good time to like talk to your friends, to brainstorm, to really think about like what do you want to achieve coming into 2026. And then on December 26th, just beware because Mercury is going to square Neptune. This could bring upon some false assumptions. It's a really good time to step back and make sure that you understand the facts and expectations, and if you're uncertain about something, just double check your information and avoid making any kind of loose or verbal agreement. You might need to clarify. So maybe just take a beat. If there's something that's hanging out, it could be solidified in the new year.
Yeah, I think that's important, especially now that, like, this time of year when we're around so much family. This is usually when some corporate folks, there's changes coming with, the corporate fiscal year
Always
mumbo
happens.
jumbo. So, yeah, just to be very discerning.
Absolutely. The sun squares Saturn on December 29th. So it's good to have a little reality check around your limitations and what your responsibilities you really want to put your energy into. If you're experiencing some challenges, it's really good to develop some kind of habit or structure that's going to support your goals. And to really remember that the end of the year is a time for hibernation. It's a time to kind of reel it back in because we do have the beginning of the year coming up, and that's always such a marathon for everyone. So just kind of like guard your energy.
Not to interrupt, but, like, because you mentioned hibernation,
Yeah.
and, I think for the Northern Hemisphere, that just seems so natural, like, "Yes, I'm gonna hibernate this new year," but I wonder what it's like for the Southern Hemisphere, where it's what is it, spring or about to
That's a really good point.
or summer? It's still summer.
So,
I mean, we live in Florida, so I guess I could imagine it.
yeah, you could. Then, as we move into the week of the new year, we have Mercury squaring Saturn on December 30th. This might be a time for serious conversations. So, you want to sharpen your focus. You want to make sure that you're problem solving in a way that's going to support your long term planning. Make sure that you're being conscious about budgets, about boundaries, about expectations, and just don't leave things hanging in the ether, you
So
know?
no loose ends.
Yeah, tie up things. Then on December 31st, the Sun and Mercury are going to trine Mars, and this is a time for aligned action. It's going to replace that hesitation that you've been experiencing. So it is actually the perfect timing universally to use that Capricorn energy to be productive, to push your plan forward, to make sure that you are ready. So, just overall, this end of year window is not about something dramatic. It's about really stopping and assessing your 2025, finding that mental clarity, and really being disciplined in how you
Right.
prepare for 2026.
Right, putting that action behind the intention.
Exactly. Maybe not even the action yet, but really just kind of thinking about what that action's gonna be and how
To set
you
yourself up.
are gonna set yourself up for success in 2026. So 2025 was a rough one.
Mhm.
2026, I just have a feeling. I don't know.
Got a feeling.
I got a feeling that it's gonna be pretty good. So,
I mean, what is it? It's the year of the horse and
fire horse.
fire horse, and what is it? So 2, if we do numerology, which I'm a little rusty in, but, like, 2 plus 2 is 4 plus 6 is a 10-year, which
Okay.
sounds like it's pretty good.
So, 10 years signifies a powerful cycle of new beginnings, leadership, independence, and massive potential. So, just think about this because you can start a new cycle, you can start a new habit, you can put your leadership and ambition into action. The action required here is going to be bold. So, this is a time to take calculated risks.
But it sounds a lot like the card too, like, you get to direct the river.
Yeah, no, it really does. It calls back to that card that Clementine pulled in the beginning, and this is a time for rest and reflection because a new beginning is coming.
And that new beginning is powerful, just like the river carves through the earth, and, this is gonna be a changing year.
So we will see you next year.
On full moon Moxie.
Moxie.